Coming to you from the studios at the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, it's the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast.
Rock and roll Chicago, rock and roll Chicago, my hometown. Well, I was born in the city, gonna rock your city, Chicago. Chicago rock and rollers are the best here around.
Hey everybody, it's Ray the Roadie.
And I'm Hollywood Mike. How you doing, Ray?
I'm doing well. A little tired.
Yeah, it's getting to that point of the day, I think.
Yeah, it is. We it's our second podcast of the day, and the earlier one was rather.
They zapped a lot of my energy.
Yeah, me too. So it's kind of. But
no, they were a lot of fun though, and they brought cookies. So for future podcasts, anybody wants to bring cookies, we'll take those.
We will, and I'm starting to get a sugar high right now.
Yep, yeah, absolutely.
Feel it.
Yep. And they brought us beer koozies and t-shirts and sunglasses.
Sunglasses. Wow, I always need sunglasses.
You know, my wife said we would never amass anything monetarily from doing this thing,
and we already are. That's right. Look at that.
Who we have in the studio?
Okay, this evening, we have Superfly Symphony. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah. And we didn't bring cookies, but we did bring T-shirts.
Oh, awesome.
All right. See?
Are they that cool t-shirt right there?
Yes, they are.
Oh, look at that. So where did the name come from? Superfly.
Ooh, that was all Ken.
Starsky and Hutch.
We just thought, when we were thinking of what would be a disco band name, what's more obvious than that, right?
Right.
Superfly Symphony.
So it did kind of come from the whole, what's the genre that we'd call it?
70s disco.
Yeah, Curtis Mayfield. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, absolutely. So is that pretty much the realm that you deal in? It's all the 70s disco stuff.
It's 70s disco, R&B. We do some like 80s R&B, like even some a couple of newer things, Bruno Mars type stuff.
Right.
But mostly it's old school stuff. Cool in the Gang,
okay.
Chic.
Right. Oh wow.
Donna
Yeah.
Summer, Aretha Franklin. We do a lot of R&B stuff like that too.
Okay. And I'm assuming you're the founder of the band?
Yes,
you are. And what role do you play?
I am the guitar player.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's got to be fun playing some of that funk stuff on guitar.
Oh, it's great. Man.
Fender Strat.
Fender Strat.
Yep. I'm thinking twin reverb or something like that.
I switch off between Fender amps, depending on the venue. Sometimes I use a Friedman amp if it's a larger venue, but mostly Fender stuff.
Yeah, you gotta have a Stratocaster for that.
Yeah, man,
for that sound.
It's that
that Niles Rodgers.
Yeah,
sound. I love that sound. I absolutely love that
tone. You got to have it.
Right. Absolutely. And what's your role in the band?
She's the real leader.
Uh-oh.
To make a long story short, Ken has not mentioned that he's a guitar teacher, and he's been in many bands for many years, and at Hicks Brothers Music that used to be in Batavia,
right,
which is now in Geneva.
Scott used to teach with me there as well.
That's why I know you. Yeah. That's why I know you, because I used to go to Hicks Brothers quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was there.
Second you said that.
I actually was there. I walked into Hicks because my mother told me when I was 11 that I could not play the drum set. So at 33, I decided to go in there and I wanted to take a lesson. So one of the Hicks Andrew Hicks' sister was standing there, and I want to take this. I want to play the drum set. And she goes, "Oh, you're not the first mom that wants to do that." Next thing I know, I'm taking lessons probably for only about 6 months. Ken is actually, they were putting together like a rock school for adults. And Amy Hicks grabbed me and she said, "I want you to be the drummer for the first Hicks band."
Wow.
And I said, "What? Are you crazy?" So next thing I know, we meet with Ken, and there's a bunch of band members, and they realized I had not been playing that long and I was a better singer. So I got kicked. They brought in another, a drummer, and then that's how this whole band started. Ken was actually just our teacher. And as time went on and people would leave, Kristi would get upset and cry because band people were leaving. And he's like, Chris, you're just at that point. You need a better band. So really this whole band was created from that rock school. And he just took me under his wing and said, we can do this.
Wow.
And there's no crying.
Yeah.
We
Right.
could do this. You need a better band. So it's been 15 years? 15 years.
You guys have been around a while.
This has
for sure.
evolved into something much bigger, way more colorful, exciting, and the skill level than I ever anticipated. This was just me getting out of the house to get away from kids. And it became this thing that I had always wanted to do. So he really is the founder of this entire band. And as people were leaving, we had a male singer at one point. He left because obviously there's a lot of male singers in a lot of the disco. Once those singers had left, we decided to beef up like the backup singing. And then that's when Ken had found Kelly.
Well, we were in the beginning, we weren't playing disco. We were playing classic rock and modern country songs, just popular radio stuff.
Right.
And it was great.
So you didn't start off playing the disco. You were just kind of experimenting.
No.
Is what
Right.
you're doing.
The idea was for me is that Kristi wanted to have a band. And, Kristi's husband is keyboard player and plays in Superfly now.
Okay.
But she wanted to have a band. So, it morphed out of the band class that I was teaching.
Right.
And, she's like, you got to help me do this. And I was like, yeah. I said, I'll help you do that. But she needed a better people in her band. If she wanted to do what she wanted to do, going out and playing clubs on a regular basis and doing these things, I said, if I'm going to do this, then you have to trust me to bring my own people into this group. Right. And it's got to be a good band or else we're not going to do it.
Right.
So we did. And, and we were playing pop songs, country songs, rock songs, so just a mixed bag of things. And it was fine. But I started noticing that, people
My skill level was getting better.
Well, that was always getting better.
Not to pat herself on the back or anything.
No, God,
You
no.
know how it is. You know how it is in the clubs. You're playing, and people respond well. But most of the time they're sitting there and they're having their conversations, and song ends, then they're clapping. But we would throw in a dance song or some kind of fun, upbeat party song, and when that song would come up in the set list, all of a sudden people would jump up and start dancing. And it was great. And then as soon as we go back to the next song in the list, and everybody go back to their table, and I'm like, I don't want that. I want more of this, So one day I walked in and I said, we're scrapping everything we're doing and we're starting fresh, and we're going to be nothing but 70s disco.
Right.
We thought he was crazy. We're like,
they all looked at me like, they were going to kill me, but
yeah, metal guy goes to disco.
I would have. Yeah.
yeah. But, I told them, I said, trust me on this. If we go out there and we're good, people will respond.
They're going to love it. Absolutely.
And we put the time in, and I brought the right people on board, and
a lot of time.
I knew we needed another good female singer, and Kelly was also a student at Hicks, and she was Hicks has like a big like ukulele band that gets together and they go play.
Yep.
And she was playing ukulele.
Ukulele.
And,
Me and my retired friends.
Yeah. And I walked in one day and she's playing her ukulele and singing like Somewhere Over the Rainbow or something like that.
Because that's the song that every ukulele player plays.
And I was like, I just walked straight up and I'm like, hey, you want to be in my disco band? And she's like, yes.
No, I was not. I was like in my head, thinking like disco.
She's like, who's this weirdo?
Disco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I knew
That's
you
the
from-
worst pickup line I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah, you want to be in my disco band. I'd always wanted to be in a band. I think I just made it as like a little mental, like, before I die, I'm going to be in a band, even though like I've never taken singing lessons. I had like just started singing in this ukulele band, and like Over the Rainbow had only happened recently at that time because I just went to the band leader and I was like, hey, I think I could sing that better than you, because he's like a 60-year-old man singing Over the Rainbow, and I was like, I can, play Judy Garland a little bit. And then when Ken asked me, I was like, I don't really like disco, but like, I guess I'm being asked to be in a band, so I'll say yes.
I'm guessing that you were born after the disco era.
A little bit.
Yes.
Yeah,
My parents were so pleased with this.
Ouch.
Yes.
So you guys are kind of like co-lead singers, I guess. Is that the way
Yeah,
it works?
Well, we have 3 female lead singers.
Oh, okay. All right. How many people are in the band total?
Total 8.
Okay, good. Okay. I can
that's
identify
why we
with
didn't
that.
bring them all.
Yeah, I can identify with that.
The other female lead singer is Lil Capelli, which you might know from the band Lil. She has a band, like a 4-piece. They do like Zeppelin and hard rock stuff. Lil is also through Hicks Brothers. I've taught her children for the past 15 years or 20 years. I've watched all her little kids, her little kids grow up to be pro musicians now. And I played with some and dabbled in some bands with her in the past, rock bands, and we had a male lead singer who was also a saxophone player, which, that worked out well because it kind of took
Dual purpose.
Yeah. But, he left the band recently at the beginning of the year, personal reasons, just kind of, wants to do something different,
Right.
after all these years of doing this kind of thing. So we decided to go with 3 females, and the chemistry is amazing. They sound great together,
Right. And who are the other members? So we've got 3 female leads.
John
yourself
Hicks is the drummer.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Yeah. And he's a youngster. He's mid-20s.
Okay.
He's, Andrew Hicks' son. Another one that I watched him grow up from being a tiny little kid, and
right.
Watched him develop as a drummer. He's fantastic. The best groove. He's got great feel. On bass is Bill Kowalski. He's another guy that I've known him since early high school days. We went to high school in Cicero and Berwyn, Morton East and West. And, a lot of the Chicago musicians that we all went to high school together, everybody's still playing.
Right.
Kevin, Connor, and Ara, Bob Biaggi, and from Infinity, Joe Mazuka, Lights Out Chicago. There's like half a dozen of us guys that we were all in high school together playing in bands, and we're still all doing it now.
Yeah, I know a few of those guys for sure. Yeah.
And
although Bill did say this is the last band he's going to be in.
Yeah.
He's a beast, but
our bass player, he's like, this is it for me. When this,
if it ends tomorrow, I'm done permanently.
Yeah.
I think most of the band members are type A. So it's good and it's bad, but it's good in the fact that everyone's putting in the effort.
Right.
So that's why Bill said, I'm going to give you 100%, but after this, I think I need to be done here. It's like, you can't give me these songs and, throw these bass lines at me. So, but he's working through them, and he's doing a great job. So anyway.
Yeah. And Kristi's husband is our keyboard player.
Oh,
Brian.
right.
Brian Sashan. He played classical and jazz in college and then became a dentist. But obviously we shared the music part of it. And I just said, you need to you need to be in the band. I mean,
Right.
if we're going to expand, we really need a keyboard player.
And not be in a disco band.
Right. So it's
because it's just a natural flow.
It is.
Natural
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
tickling the ivories. That's the joke. Yeah.
Right.
Now I get it. Okay. I thought it was going to have something to do with the sound of a drill and the sound of disco to some people. Because some people don't like disco.
Yes.
Some people don't like disco, yeah.
And it sounds like a dentist drill to
But
some people.
I'll tell you though, a lot of people that don't like disco, they come to our show and they have a good time.
Right.
Even though maybe it's not their thing. The energy, you can't not smile when people are having a great time in front of you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, your band too does.
Yeah.
You guys get the groove going.
Yep, absolutely. I think the people that say that they don't like disco nowadays are the people that are still stuck on the whole disco sucks thing from when they broke and burned the records at Comiskey Park, because they thought it was a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And like Doc in our band, our keyboard player, he says, "Oh, I hate disco." But when you watch all of the videos of Cadillac Groove and we play a disco song, and we don't play a lot of true disco songs, right? Maybe 3. He's going nuts to that song, but no, he hates disco.
Yeah.
Right. It's something that you can feel, and it's not like you're putting a record on at home. There's something about live music. I mean, we put a lot of time in to make sure there's no tracks. We're trying to learn it.
Yeah, we don't use tracks.
Note for note.
Nothing. If we can't play it, we don't do it,
Yeah, that's good.
But, the disco thing, my history is actually heavy metal. I played in a band called Damien Thorn in Chicago here since...
Damien Thorn, wow.
For 40 years.
Yeah, wow.
I play in a band Witch Slayer, which is also from like 1982.
Yep.
You tour overseas.
And this band, like Damien Thorn played in 14 countries. We've toured that's all we used to do. People would always say, we don't never see you playing anywhere around here, because we're always gone,
Yeah.
And next month I'm going with Witch Slayer, to Germany and stuff, do some festivals. And we just had a album come out. And,
no kidding.
So it's kind of, I play heavy metal and then I play disco.
Right.
And all the metal guys, it's the same thing. Oh, what are you doing? What is that?
Musicians are musicians.
And I'm like, it's a music band.
Right.
I go, what do you do for a living? You drive a truck and you're greasy and you hate it. And all you do is complain.
Right.
I play the guitar all day.
All day long.
And get paid.
Right.
Whether it's teaching or playing heavy metal or playing disco or, sitting with an 8-year-old kid reading music, it's like.
Right. So what's the demographics of one of your shows? Who's out in the crowd? What's the age?
Well, I would say it's kind of a mix, but I'd say majority is women between the ages of 30 and 50.
Okay.
A lot of
raise in,
right? You see a lot of
I'm there.
girls' night out groups.
Okay.
Or like somebody's birthday, so there's like 15 of them. And,
okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, they come out and they get an Uber.
Oh yeah.
Like they're making a whole evening of it.
Right.
It's the energy in the crowd is just insane. Like
depends on the place too, though. Sometimes at Even Flow, you get like 20 somethings walking in and they're like, I know this song. We're like, yeah, you know this song.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get some young people, and they might not know what they're listening to, but they walk in and the groove's going and the beat's going and it's nice and loud and the energy's happening and they just flow right in and they're enjoying it,
I think when you say 20 somethings, I think they're hearing a lot of stuff because a lot of that old 70s disco stuff is still present in a lot of modern movies.
Oh yeah.
Look at the Marvel movies. Right. There's been all kinds of stuff in the Marvel movies and the DC movies and things like that, because if they're 20 something, They don't know that music because their parents listened to it. They know that music because their grandparents listened to it. Right. So it's either their grandparents or it's movies or something. Right.
It's a lot of media, TV and movie soundtracks and stuff. Not just disco, but, classic rock.
Right.
All you hear is Led Zeppelin and Rolling Stones and, the Beatles and things that have been around for 50 years.
Right.
And it's going strong. As a teacher, I get these little kids, they come in and I'll ask them, I'll say, what's your favorite band? What do you listen to? Oh, I don't listen to music.
Right.
I'm like, well, how do you know you want to play the guitar if you don't listen to music?
Because your dad said so.
Well, my dad, dad plays, Led Zeppelin in the car or Van Halen in the car, and that's kind of. It's a weird exposure to music now for these little guys, but
yeah, my dad said it's either the guitar or the accordion. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah. No, I think, the younger generation today, I think they're starting to recognize that the sounds that are being modeled with digital recording and the beats that people are producing for hip hop music, they're starting to realize that those are sounds that were actually once made with an actual instrument back in 1975.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're exploring, okay, what were those instruments? And they're getting into, I'm seeing younger bands nowadays, their keyboard player is playing a vintage keyboard that you can't go to a music store and buy anymore.
No.
It's got wooden sides, and they're going out trying to find those instruments.
Yeah. It's like a circle, everything kind of comes around.
Well, and songs and mashups you hear on TikTok, my boyfriend was listening to a song that it was just a mashup. And I was like, do you know what that original bit is from? He's like, what do you mean? And then I played it for him. He's like, oh my God, no way.
Yeah. So I mean, you're never supposed to ask a woman this, but I have to. How old are you?
I am 32.
So who's the oldest and who's the youngest?
Johnny's the youngest. I feel like Johnny's 22, 23.
He's 23.
He's a baby.
Oldest is our bass player. He's
turned 60.
60.
Okay. Wow. So you guys have almost a 40-year span in age differences of people coming together in a band playing 70s disco music.
Yeah.
Right. And the funny part is that's exactly what our crowd is too.
Yeah.
It's a big span and it's just amazing. I mean, I even have 70-year-old people saying, when are you playing?
Right. Everyone likes disco.
I joke, but my husband is at the office talking about the band more than he is talking about teeth. Right. And we have patients that follow us. So
right.
It's just fun. And it almost feels like Halloween sometimes. You can put something goofy on and you're not going to be judged. People ask, well, what do you wear? You wear something that you would feel ridiculous wearing at the grocery store. And then you're in.
Unless you're going to Walmart because all bets are off.
Anything goes there.
Although at Walmart, Target, Jewel, and Kohl's, they play disco music.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Whole Foods too. I feel like there's always disco on it
because it makes you happy and you want to spend more money.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the funny thing was disco at one point in time was actually the counterculture. And I think what led to the whole disco sucks thing isn't that people disliked the music. It became the counterculture. Think Studio 54.
Yeah.
When everybody started talking about this counterculture and, Andy Warhol, who was, kind of a strange guy and all the drugs and the sex, people talk about sex and drugs and rock and roll. Well, sex and drugs and disco is happening at places like Studio 54. And it was spreading around, it was going around the country. Then all of a sudden it gets to big cities that weren't really involved in that kind of culture and disco became the counterculture.
Yeah.
And then what do? You label it something that people are not going to be happy with. And that's when this disco sucks slogan came around. Next thing you know, you have people burning records at a ballpark.
I was there, man. I was at that thing.
Yeah. But the music was never bad. In my opinion, it was never bad. I thought it was good music.
I look at it from, because I'm a musician, I look at it from my guitar perspective.
Right.
And, when I grew up in Chicago, in the south side of Chicago in this little neighborhood. And when I started playing when I was 8. And right around that time, between 8 and 9 years old, I had an older brother who played and all his friends played. So I was around all these older teenagers that were playing, right? So I was getting that bug watching them, and I'm like, oh, I got to do that. At the end of my block was a house that had a band that played in the basement of this house.
Right.
And it was like a 8 or 9 piece like funk band, you know. They had horns, they had, you know, percussion, and I would hear this and I'm like, wow, what is that? You know, I'm sitting in my bedroom playing Black Sabbath records, right? And I go outside and I'm hearing this like, you know, funk band playing down the street. And I would walk down there and I'd stand on the sidewalk and like stare through the window and watch them, you know?
Right.
And then one day, one of the guys, he goes, hey, you want to come in and listen? I'm like, yeah, you know? So from that day on, every day I was down there, like watching these guys. And they had this guitar player that was just amazing.
Right.
Playing this funk stuff. And I was like,
looked like his right hand was about to come off the end of his arm.
Yeah, I was like, what is that? I'm like, you know, I was new to guitar and just a little kid, but that was like completely different than anything that I've seen regarding a guitar before, you know, the way this guy was playing. So that always kind of stuck in my head. So, you know, all the years growing up and playing like hard rock and metal, when I had my own time, I was working on that funk stuff. And because to me, the guitars, it doesn't matter the genre of the music, you know, whether it's country or jazz or blues or funk, or it's all kind of like a new flavor of ice cream, you know, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like you got to know it all, and it's fun to learn it all. And you know.
Like, I think it was Keith Richards that said when you walk into a guitar shop, you don't see rhythm guitars and lead guitars.
No, you see guitars.
You see guitars.
Right. And guitar players.
Exactly. And guitar players. Yeah. Exactly. And, you know, the guys that always say stuff like, yeah, that disco and funk stuff, though, it's really easy. It's usually 1 or 2 chords. Like they're like, it's 1 or 2 chords. It's so primitive. Anybody can do that. Okay, then go ahead and do it. Let me see you do it here.
Yeah. It's what they don't realize is, you know, those guitar players, well, all those guys in those disco bands in the early 70s, you know, they were jazz players.
Yeah.
You know, and they went to disco because they couldn't get gigs.
Right.
Because the rock bands were taking all their gigs. Right. You know, in the 60s and stuff. And these guys had to find a way to make money. And the only way was to play dance music because that got people in the door. And that's how that kind of evolved. So, you know, all those guys were educated jazz players. They're not, you know, that music is not simple.
No, it's not.
It's very rhythmic. And yeah, if anybody who says that guitar playing is easy,
right?
Come on, you could sub for me any night of the week.
Yeah, here you go. Do it. Yeah.
And you can do it, man.
So do you guys have a favorite song you like to play, or is there something that people request a lot?
I was just about to ask Kelly.
We do play originals.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's got their own favorite. I think mine is I Will Survive. Partly because of the way the crowd reacts to it. Or Gimme Gimme from ABBA. Gimme Gimme Gimme.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
That was like a favorite when I was a kid. Like I didn't like any disco, except I remember I got this A-Teens album when I was a kid. Like, and they were like a crummy Disney-ish band. And they had a whole album covering ABBA songs. And I listened to it like nonstop on repeat for like a year. So I knew every song. Now I know like every ABBA song because of that.
That's good because we
yeah. And so now Gimme 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 was like my long-standing favorite. And now we get to sing it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. What about your favorite song? I always like to ask the vocalists that because
I like them all, but it took probably 3 years to get this one in the works. Everyone, in fact, we even had somebody that quit when I pulled up the song because it has 3 key changes, and they were not going to be charting it out. So that was they were done. But it is Donna Summer's Last Dance.
Yeah,
that one again, just like Kelly. When I was a kid, I was about 6 years old. Those albums came out and all the remixes, everything. We had every version of the Donna Summer.
There's a lot of versions.
There's so many versions. And
Yes, there is.
they just kept remixing and remixing. And I don't know how many songs, I should know that, how many songs Donna Summer did, but I feel like they remixed them so many times, but they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I had picked a version that was an extended version because, of course, every version I pick is the live version or the extended version because it's badass. But so I presented that song and they shook it off. They're like, no, we got to get some of these probably a little easier songs under our belt so that we can grow our set list. But I kept bringing that one back and I'm like, trust me, I've been singing this since I was 6. I could sell this song. I will own it. And finally it came together and it was a bitch. But it's
kills it.
So good.
It is just to hear it live is just amazing.
Right,
so I try, unfortunately I grew up trying to emulate all the artists, Barbara Streisand. I always tried to sound just like them. And then later on found that like a vocal teacher had said, what's your voice?
Right.
What do you sound like? So what's been great about this is I'm using all my alter ego voices that I worked on, but we have been doing some originals and, Ken's pulling that out. Well, what would you do? And I can't sound like anybody else. I'm not Whitney Houston. I'm not Christina Aguilera. I'm not any of these artists. What would you do?
Right,
so then you start pulling in all these artists that you've been working on your whole life and grabbing these things. And that's how we ended up writing some originals. And
you should have brought a guitar with you, Ken.
oh my God.
Yeah.
They've joked with him where they've told him, like when he does a guitar solo, that he needs to tape fingers together because he does so much that it's like over the top. So of course we had to pull in Purple Rain. No, not Purple Rain, although that was on my list, but Let's Go Crazy because Prince's guitar solo at the end, he kills it. And he can put his own spin on it, but he could play it note for note. So it's just been such a good combination and just pulling the best out of everybody, I think. And I think really we've all just really grown as musicians. And, not all of us, went to school for this, but we just are embracing this because this is like, 1 in a million chance that you find those right people that you click with. And when that chemistry is, you have to just dig your nails into it and go with it. And that's really what Ken has shown me, just stick with it. Don't get up in your head, work it out. And that's why the band's been successful. And we're getting booked and, they said, oh, these bands won't make any money. Well, I own a business. I'm like, this band is going to make money. I make money. I will show you this band will make money. So, and between me and then kicking him, say, what else can we get? We need more. And he's like, all right. So, he stepped up and made this something big. Right. So very grateful.
Well, it's good. We can tell that the three of you are excited and passionate about the band. My Donna Summer story, this is actually kind of funny. The reason why I smiled when you mentioned that song was I was at an open jam one night and the piano player starts playing that song. Literally starts playing that song. And the bass player knew the song. And I was just standing on stage. There were 2 other guitar players up there and I know the words to that song.
Awesome.
So, and the funny thing was the keyboard player didn't know that there was a key change coming up. The bass player did. And then one of the other guitar players knew that there was a key change coming up. And it was just, like you said, it's not an easy song to learn, not an easy song to play. But we had the people on stage that night where it just came together and nobody could believe that we played that song in an open mic.
Right. That's fantastic. Awesome.
I'll guarantee you we could never duplicate that again. We would have to have those exact same guys up there on the stage. And chances are they're not going to remember it.
Right.
that it actually happened.
Right. Oh, that's great.
No, I've got to go out and see you guys now. I bet you my wife would absolutely love you guys. My wife won't listen to anything unless it's disco. I mean, really, or country. She'll listen to country, but she loves.
Well, you know what we got to do?
Disco.
We need to do a Cadillac Groove Superfly show.
That would be That would be really good.
That would work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to need a huge place.
No, we can
Right.
make that. We can actually make that. We can actually make that happen because we're actually playing this Friday night at Tailgaters with Strung Out. So if Cadillac Groove and Strung Out can play that place, then we can work something out. That'd be great.
The
So
turnout
Tom
would be
Dixon, I hope you
amazing.
listen to this podcast every single week because, we're in a band together. Give these guys a call.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
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 We like tailgaters. Tailgaters are great.
Yeah.
And people come out for that. That's like that would be a huge evening.
Right.
You know, they make plans.
Yeah,
They bring people. So.
Absolutely. And, and I think that's the great thing about having a wide range of ages that come out because everything's different. You've got the group that want to get there early and have dinner, right? And they dress up and they're ready to dance right away, right? Then you've got the younger crowd that have to have a few drinks in them before they're going to get up and dance. And so they straggle a little bit later and you watch the place fill up and it just makes for a better night when it's a large demographic.
We're lucky that we have a couple of regular fans that come to every show and they kick stuff off right off the bat.
Yep.
Night is young and just unfolding. Feel the magic in the air. Let the music fill your soul now. Come and dance away all your cares. The moon is high, you feel the love. The vibe is hot, it's all around. Let's get this party started. Fill the room with a funky time. Get up on the dance floor. Everybody up on the dance floor. Get up on the dance floor. Everybody up on the dance floor.
Like Spider.
Oh yeah, spiders.
This guy,
He's a
his
legend.
nickname is Spider because
of the way he dances, right?
he's a great dancer and he's like a martial arts guy, so he's really limber, flowy, and he's not scared to do anything. So he
has no shame.
The dance floor could be completely open and dead, and he'll get up there and do his thing, and it's like a magnet.
Right.
A magnet.
Wow. So, what do you guys have coming up next as far as dates? So people can go out and see you. You got an even flow date coming up, right?
I already put my calendar down. Hang on.
That's why I told you guys to take it out.
I did not keep it out. Okay.
Yeah, you've got an even flow date coming up, and then you've got something coming up.
Okay, Even Flow is Saturday, May 13th.
Which that's a great place. I don't know why, but Even Flow reminds me of the club in Purple Rain. I don't know why. Maybe because it's 2 stories and you can be up high looking down at the stage.
Even Throw throws down. That place always gets wild, and you get like a lot of younger people there.
Okay, right.
Yeah, that's our that and the Roundhouse. That's our neighborhood.
That's right. The Two Brothers Roundhouse is coming up for you guys.
Roundhouse is on the 24th.
June 24th.
One day after my birthday, so I'll be throwing down.
Oh, so yeah, we'll be throwing down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be good then.
Yeah.
She just got engaged.
Ooh.
2 days ago.
Oh, wow.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess I'll keep him. He'll keep you guys.
We don't like him.
You don't like him? Was he a fan of the band?
We love him.
He's a fan of the band.
Was he a fan and met him at a show?
No, he was. No. I did not meet him on a show.
Okay.
Yeah,
but you met him at the gym, right?
Yeah, I met him at the gym.
I heard the story.
Yeah, she's a black belt in karate.
Yeah.
Nice, excellent. So we're multifaceted, multi-talented.
Yeah.
So how can people find you on social media? I assume you're on Twitter and Facebook. You got a website and a whole bit.
Superflysymphony.com. All of our other social medias is just Superfly Symphony.
Okay.
So you can find us on Facebook. Facebook's mostly where you're going to find stuff. We post occasionally on Instagram, but we spend a lot of time on Facebook.
Right.
All our show dates and everything you can find right on our website. If you want to hear our original music, Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere, just look up Superfly Symphony.
Now, is your original music, the disco genre?
Yes.
It is. Okay, interesting. So there's actually a band writing new disco music.
We put 4 singles out this past year.
Feel my appetite. I'm needing to head out for the night. Drinks pouring, I'm looking for a bite. Someone underneath the disco light. Wherever we go, we hit the dance floor. Drinks pouring, who will catch my eye? Keep looking, searching for the high. Hips turning, moving side to side. Hands on my body through the night. It's time to get
And we're probably going to do some more coming up pretty soon. But yeah, we try to stay pretty retro. You know?
So we'll have to put that stuff in in the podcast. I'm curious to see
Niall
what that sounds
Rogers
like.
needs to be scared.
Yeah.
So, because they're doing new stuff too. So,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they got to watch themselves.
Although I think Niles is doing okay for himself.
Yeah,
Niall's doing okay, man.
Ken did contact him to ask him if he wanted to play on one of our songs.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's great.
Hey, you never
Did he respond?
No.
Yeah. I wrote Garth Brooks one time too, and he didn't respond to me. I asked I asked Garth Brooks if he wanted to come and speak at a youth conference, but he never responded. But he was a little busy at the time. He was right in the middle of, I think, the rodeo tour or something like that.
Right.
I think that's where you have to be persistent and just keep bothering them. Yeah. And then eventually,
you'll either get a cease and desist order or it'll show up.
Or it'll show up.
Right.
Yeah, right. Either way, you'll get an autograph some kind of way.
That's right.
I'll put that right up next to my restraining order from Leonard Nimoy.
That's
I love Leonard Nimoy.
I'm just kidding. There's no restraining order filed against me from Leonard Nimoy.
That guy's awesome.
I love it.
Alrighty, guys. Well, thanks a lot for coming out tonight. We hope to get out and see you guys.
Thank you for having us. We do have some merch for you too. So you got to have a Superfly shirt.
Got to have a
Yeah.
Every shirt I own is a Superfly shirt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Hollywood Mike's in the building.
Yeah, my nickname's Mother Bling, so I get it.
Mother Bling.
Yeah.
All right. That's right.
Alrighty. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right. We'll see you.
Thanks for having us.
Well, there we go. Disco's back.
Superfly Symphony.
Superfly Symphony, bringing disco back to your town.
I think I love the name of the band.
I do too.
And we have T-shirts that say Superfly.
Yes, we do. We're going to wear them at every podcast episode now.
That's right. It's like a name tag for me, Superfly.
That's right. No more Hollywood? So
no, it's still got to be Hollywood because that's on my motorcycle vest. I can't change it.
All right. I thought maybe like Superfly Mike.
Superfly Hollywood.
But yeah, who ever thought that disco would be coming back? And people are still getting into it and digging it.
It's coming back and I'm into it. I'll go see them.
I definitely see them. Sounds like a good time. So I hope you enjoyed that episode with Superfly Symphony. Make sure you go out and see them somewhere this upcoming summer season. They'll be all over the place. And thanks again for listening to our podcast. And as always, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Later.
The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast is edited by Paul Martin. Theme song courtesy of M&R Rush. The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast does not own the rights to any of the music heard on the show. The music is used to promote the guests that are featured.
Rock and roll Chicago.